You know you're in trouble when a prince of one of Europe's most scandal-ridden royal families looks like he's about to strangle you in the middle of Manhattan. And worse when his anger isn't directed at your existence in general, but because his fiancé won't shut up about you. I wish I could say I was exaggerating. I wasn't born for drama, nor for palaces, nor for headlines that feed on glittering lies. My name is Ethan Miller, 24, American-born, and a glorified shadow in the life of Crown Prince Adrian of Idvaya. Officially, I'm his attendant. Unofficially, I've been his confidant, his distraction, his whatever the hell it is that makes a prince keep glancing at a nobody like me when his fiancé, the elegant and perfectly bred Alexander, stands by his side. But that's the thing. Adrian talks. He talks too much. He tells Alexander about how I make him laugh, how I pull him down to earth, how my sarcasm cuts through his polished world of duty. And Alexander, sharp as broken glass, hears every word. That's how I found myself facing Alexander's storm-gray eyes one humid night in August. His voice low, furious, laced with something far more dangerous than royal wrath-jealousy. Do you have any idea what it feels like? He spat. To be engaged to someone who looks at you and sees someone else's shadow instead? I didn't answer. Not because I didn't know what to say, but because his words hit too close. Because a part of me, the selfish, reckless part, one buried under years of knowing my place, wanted to claim it. Wanted to say, yes, he sees me, not you. And God help me, I want him to. Instead, I swallowed it. I'm just his attendant, I said, voice thinner than I wanted. Nothing more. Alexander stepped closer, close enough that I could feel the heat of his breath. Close enough that anyone passing by in the dim path might mistake us for something intimate instead of enemies. Don't lie to me, he whispered. He's in love with you. Those words were gasoline. Dangerous. Flammable. They ignited every buried glance. Every too long laugh Adrian and I had shared. And yet, I couldn't let them burn me alive. The first time I met Adrian was 3 years ago, in Washington, D.C., at an international gala where the royals had descended like peacocks among pigeons. I was working part-time as a translator, clumsy in my rented tux, when he tripped not on the carpet, not on the champagne but on freedom. He'd slipped out of his security bubble, ditching his fiancée's side for 5 precious minutes, and found me instead. I was the only one who treated him like a guy in an overpriced suit instead of a porcelain artifact. He laughed at something I muttered about his shoes being shinier than the Lincoln Memorial, and it started there. From then on, I became his shadow. Invitations, tours, even the ridiculous shopping trips Alexander orchestrated to polish Adrian into the perfect prince I was there. Always there. Until there started to feel like a cage, because I knew one thing with cruel certainty. Princes don't end up with their shadows. And yet, Adrian never stopped talking. Ethan says, Ethan thinks, Ethan wouldn't approve of this wine, always Ethan, as if my name had become his second heartbeat. And Alexander, perfect Alexander, stood there with a brittle smile while his betrothed slipped further into someone else's orbit. Mine. Now, in Central Park, under lamplight too dim to soften the hardness of his expression, Alexander pressed a hand against my chest. Not hard, not violent, but intimate. Too intimate. You have to end it, he said, before it destroys him, before it destroys us all. My pulse stuttered under his palm. My body screamed at me to push him away, to run. But my soul, damn it, my soul was tired. Do you love him? I asked before I could stop myself. Alexander's eyes widened, just slightly. Then a humorless laugh. Of course I do. But love isn't enough when he doesn't love me back. The words lingered in the humid night air, heavy, tragic, and I hated myself for understanding. Because love, when misaligned, is nothing but torment. I thought of Adrian then, off his stupid smile, of the way his hand would brush mine when no one was looking, of how he'd call me late at night just to rant about his obligations, his loneliness. How he once told me, half asleep over the phone, "You make me feel real, Ethan. God help me." I didn't know what to say to Alexander, because if he was the fire, I was the tinder, and Adrian was the spark dancing between us, reckless, inevitable. And then, As if summoned by my guilt, a familiar voice broke through the night. Ethan? My heart dropped. Adrian. He stood a few steps away, his suit jacket unbuttoned, his tie loose, his blue eyes wide with confusion and something I couldn't name. He looked at Alexander's hand still pressed against me, then at my face. And in that single moment, I knew nothing would ever be the same again. Adrian's voice cracked the silence like glass shattering on marble. He didn't shout, didn't accuse, he simply said my name, and the way it trembled on his lips told me more than 1,000 questions ever could. Alexander withdrew his hand from my chest, his mask sliding back into place as though he hadn't just laid bare his entire heart. His storm-gray eyes flicked to Adrian, then back to me, full of unspoken warning. Adrian, he said smoothly, though his voice was tight at the edges. We were just talking, but Adrian wasn't looking at him. He was looking at me, and God help me, the world narrowed down to that gaze, that blue ocean I had been drowning in for years. Talking, Adrian repeated, because it doesn't look like talking. My throat went dry. This was the knife's edge I had been teetering on since the day I met him, and now the ground was gone. I could lie. I could save him from scandal, from heartbreak, from the ruin that comes when a prince loves the wrong person. Or I could break us all open. Alexander, ever the diplomat, stepped forward. Don't do this here. Not now. Adrian's jaw tightened. Why not? When is the right time to find out the man I'm supposed to marry corners the one person I... He stopped himself, biting the words back, but it was too late. They hung in the air like smoke. The one person he what? Loved? Needed? Wanted? Alexander flinched just slightly, but enough. For the first time since I'd known him, he looked small like a man, not a fiancé sculpted for palace perfection. He turned away, his voice low, breaking. I told you, Ethan. You should have ended it. And then he walked past Adrian, shoulders stiff, disappearing into the night without a single glance back. Silence. The kind that suffocates, that presses against your chest until you can't breathe. Adrian stared at me. Ethan, he whispered. I shook my head, words tumbling out, desperate. I didn't ask for this. I never wanted to come between you and... Don't. He cut me off, his voice raw. Don't you dare apologize for existing, for being the only thing in my life that's ever felt real. My heart twisted. Adrian, you're engaged. You can't. I don't care. He snapped, louder now, the weight of years breaking in his tone. I don't care what the papers say, what my parents demand, what the crown thinks it owns. I'm so damn tired of pretending. Tired of smiling next to someone while my heart beats for someone else. He stepped closer, so close I could smell the faint trace of cologne and exhaustion clinging to him. His hand reached out, trembling, hovering near mine. Tell me the truth, he pleaded. Do you feel it too? Or am I just some delusional prince chasing shadows? My entire body shook. 3 years of silence, of stolen glances, of burying myself in duty, all of it boiled over. Yes, I breathed. God, Adrian, yes, I feel it. I've always felt it. And then his hand closed over mine, firm, desperate, like a drowning man clutching the surface. The kiss didn't come right away. It wasn't some cinematic sweep into each other's arms. It was messier, raw. He leaned in, hesitated, his forehead pressed against mine as though gathering courage. My chest burned with the weight of everything unsaid. When his lips finally found mine, it wasn't gentle. It was years of hunger, of restraint snapping all at once. His mouth moved against mine like he was claiming, apologizing, begging all in one breath. And I kissed him back, reckless, doomed, alive. For a moment, there was no crown, no fiancé, no consequences. Just us. Just 2 men in the middle of Central Park, clinging to something the world would never allow. When we finally pulled apart, gasping, Adrian whispered, "You make me feel human." Tears stung my eyes. "And you make me feel like I matter." But reality waits. It always does. The scandal broke within days. Photos of Adrian and Alexander's strained appearances hit tabloids. whispers of another man began circulating. My name never appeared, not at first, but the vultures circled closer. Adrian's parents demanded explanations. The palace released cold statements about unity, tradition, and stability. Alexander, to his credit, said nothing. He withdrew gracefully, citing irreconcilable differences, though I knew the truth behind his silence. He'd loved Adrian enough to let him go, and then it was just us. I expected ruin. I expected Adrian to fold under pressure, to choose the crown over me. But he didn't. One night, weeks after the storm broke, he found me in my tiny Brooklyn apartment. No guards, no entourage, just him. I abdicated, he said simply, as if announcing the weather. I stared at him, my body numb. You. What? His smile was small but real. I don't want a throne. I don't want a kingdom. I want you. That's all I've ever wanted. The world tilted. My knees nearly gave out. Adrian, you gave up everything. No, he corrected gently, taking my face in his hands. I gave up nothing, because none of it meant anything without you. And then he kissed me again, softer this time, not desperate but certain. Love stories rarely look the way fairy tales promise. Ours was no different. It was messy, filled with broken engagements, shattered expectations, and a prince who chose love over power. But when I wake up beside him now, sunlight spilling across our bed in a Brooklyn apartment that smells of coffee and freedom, I don't see a prince who lost his crown. I see the man who found his heart. And for once in my life, I don't feel like a shadow. I feel like his, forever. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe to stay updated with the latest videos.